Okay, our bell work took us to through two main events here. Okay, we have the Dred Scott decision first. So I'm gonna go ahead and display it all, so that way you guys can get it while I'm talking here. So this is 1857. This is when it got brought to the Supreme Court. Now, it actually first started like 10 years before this. Okay. So actually, right, Dred Scott, he sued for his freedom when he's in the 1840s. I believe it was 1846 is the exact year. But it takes a while to get to a Supreme Court case. Okay, it has to move up the chain of courts. So, Dred Scott, he was an enslaved man. Okay, so he's suing for his freedom after when he was with his slaveholder. They had traveled to into free states, specifically Illinois. And I believe there's in Wisconsin territory. Okay, so those are free states. Okay, they're originally from Missouri, so Missouri is it a free or slave state? Slave, right? Remember, due to that Missouri Compromise. Okay, so he's suing, saying like, hey, no, I at some point in my life I lived in a free state, so therefore I should be free. So the court, even though kind of a smaller court, kind of agreed in his favor, the Missouri Supreme Court did not, and eventually this went all the way to the Supreme Court. Okay, so the Supreme Court ruling, basically Chief Justice Roger B. Taney, he ruled three big issues in this court case. So, three big issues. African Americans were not considered citizens under the Constitution, so therefore they could not sue. So is the first issue, the first thing is, since he is an African American, since he is an enslaved man, right? He's not considered a citizen, and then under the Constitution, citizens do not have the right to sue. That's his first thing. Second thing is, just because of his time staying in a free state does not make him free. And then third, since slaves were considered property, right, an enslaved person was considered property, therefore Congress could not prevent someone from taking slaves into a federal territory. So basically, that Missouri Compromise line is unconstitutional. That's basically what they're saying with that third thing, that third issue, is since they're property, right, just as if someone was taking their cattle into these areas, right, cattle is considered property, just like that, Congress then cannot prevent, so if someone wants to take their enslaved people into a territory. So therefore, they cannot ban slavery in territories, in federal territories. So it makes that Missouri Compromise line unconstitutional. Basically, he used the Fifth Amendment to kind of back this up. So this is a pretty extreme, intense decision, right? This had gone way beyond whether or not Dred Scott was free or not, right? Because a bunch of issues got brought up, and now we have basically saying African Americans are not citizens. Just because an enslaved person lived in a free territory, they're still enslaved, and the government cannot ban slavery. That's literally, if you look, based on those three things, right? Summarizing them, that's basically what it is saying. And so the North, they were shocked and dismayed, right? This is like, first you're saying they're not citizens, then just because they live in free, that doesn't mean they're free. And it's banning, or it says the government cannot ban slavery. So they're shocked. They worried that this ruling would allow slavery to expand. I mean, since the government cannot prevent someone from taking enslaved people into the territories, they were worried that now it's going to spread even more. Right? Eventually not even allow for slavery to be banned at all. Not just in the territories. Right? So in the whole country, they worried about that. The South, they're obviously very happy with this decision. It very much more supported kind of their side, if you want to, and I'm putting that in quotation, side, right? Most felt that it finally kind of settled this debate on slavery and whether slavery was legal in all the federal territories. So, right, the territories meaning the Kansas territory, the Nebraska territory, Utah, right, all those territories, basically saying that the government cannot ban them there. So definitely the South, they were cheered, they were happy with this decision. The North was just stunned because of how deep and intense these rulings were. And that they're fearing now it's going to spread even more. Alright, so the next one that we have is the Lincoln-Douglas debates. Alright, I'm going to go to the next one. I'll go back to this one eventually, after, okay? If you're not done, I'll go back to this. Alright, so this happened in 1858. So, Stephen Douglas and Abraham Lincoln, okay, I'm sorry? You may have heard. Okay, Stephen Douglas was the big writer on that Kansas-Nebraska Act. Abraham Lincoln, he is a lawyer in Illinois. You may have also heard of his name later on. He will become the president. Spoiler alert, sorry. Anyways, they were fighting over an Illinois Senate seat. Okay, Lincoln being a Republican and Stephen Douglas being the Democratic candidate. Okay, and I will say these parties are, yes, they're the two parties that we have today, but their ideals were actually kind of very flip-flopped, but they still were not as extreme, not as, I wouldn't also compare them to the ideals that the parties have now. If that makes sense. Anyways, they're fighting over an Illinois Senate seat. Okay, so Lincoln challenged Douglas to these series of debates. Right, Hamilton maybe rap battle, right, cabinet battle. But it's a series of debates trying to, and pretty much the main topic of these debates was the spread of slavery, especially this is a year after that Dred Scott decision. And, right, so it's pretty much on the spread of slavery. Lincoln was definitely more on the side of, right, he just wanted to settle this debate of slavery. He wanted to settle this debate. He didn't really pick, I wouldn't say he picked a side. Now he did right, talk about the Dred Scott decision and saying that the African Americans were entitled to their natural rights, especially listed in the Declaration of Independence, and that they should be equals. They were not. I mean, they were not necessarily believed to be equals. Okay, but he does think that, right, we need to settle this debate. Basically, he said that the House cannot remain divided. What does that mean?
It means like, listen, go to Canada. People are killing each other. This,
Yeah.
division needs to stop.
Yeah, it's the division. He basically wanted the division to stop, right? Again, he's not necessarily saying that he did not flat out, especially this point in time, okay, he did not flat out say, oh, we need to stop slavery, we need to, he wasn't that extreme yet, okay, and I guess I'm using extreme not meanly, but right, he wasn't that far being an abolitionist yet, okay, but he definitely wanted to, he said like this needed to be this division needed to stop. Whereas in Douglas he's like, it doesn't matter about the Dred Scott decision, the people should be able to decide. Again, he's the writer of that Kansas-Nebraska Act where it allowed popular sovereignty in those territories. What does popular sovereignty mean again? Yeah, the people. So that's why he's definitely a big person of the people should be able to decide whether or not it allows it. So we have some big, huge debates between these two people. It's basically over the issue over the spread of slavery. Alright, so go ahead and screenshot those two, submit in part 3. You'll have your last part tomorrow, or you actually will just submit all of it.